And I'm going to attempt, no, that's not a word. So ever since I started this YouTube channel, I've always shown the final photograph, the edited photograph. Well, in this video, we're going to do something completely different. And I'm going to show you the raw truth about shooting micro four thirds in this Olympus E-M1 Mark II. So in this video, I'm going to talk you through the composition, talk you through the thought process, talk you through the equipment that I'm using, and I'm also going to show you the raw file and the edited file. I just want to show you what you can pull from the sensor on this micro four thirds camera. So with this first photograph, there is a little tributary coming down. This is like a little drain beneath me. I'm standing on a slight bridge, so there's a bit of an S-bend and some water coming out, and I thought that makes for a really fun leading line up to two boats. Well, three boats, but I think you'll probably only see two boats. There's some boats on the rule of thirds points, so you've got the water coming in at the bottom, you've got the two boats on the rule of thirds points, and then you've got sky above it just completing the composition. I've got a polarising filter on, rotated just enough to take the glare off of the water, and it also gives a little bit of contrast to the sky, and I'm using a 3-sop soft edge graduated ND filter just to bring the sky back because it's an awful lot brighter than the foreground, and that's how we're going to do the exposure. So f5.6, a 500th of a second, ISO 200. There's the first photograph taken, and now I'm going to show you the raw file and the edited image. So I want to talk to you briefly about my editing. I tend to throw one preset on everything. Literally everything has this preset. And after I've thrown the preset on, I will adjust temperature and white balance and colours accordingly, just to give me the look of how I edit. A little bit of dodging and burning here and there, just to throw a little bit of extra light in places, just to emphasise certain parts of the photograph. And then it's over into Photoshop, where I use the Lumensia plugin, and I just throw a little bit more contrast in, and I tend to pick almost the darkest of the darks. It adds some contrast to the photograph, but it also retains a slight fade to the midtones, and it's a look that I really quite like. So there's a little bit of a guide on how I edit. I know people have asked me in the past how I edit, they wanted to see the workflow, and there's just a little bit of a teaser and a taster on how I personally edit my photographs. So I've moved around a little ways now, and we're going to single out one of the boats in the last photograph, only this time we're going to zoom in and just do something a little bit closer, singling out one of the boats. And I want to do something of a long exposure with it, but it's a bit breezy and I'm a little bit concerned about the tripod wobbling about, so we have to wait a little bit, see if the wind dies down. I just want to allow a little bit more of the tide to come in. The S-bend from the first photograph is now all but gone, which is a good thing. I'm really just hoping to get the tide, this boat, and a little bit of the cloud moving across in the background. So let's see what happens. So I've set this composition up now, and I've put a 10-stop ND filter on and the polarizing filter. Now the 10-stop ND filter is allowing me to get a shutter speed of down to 3.2 seconds at f9 and ISO 200. And again, the polarizing filter is just taking some of the shine off of the water and, well, the sky. Now, with this composition, I'm using two things to anchor this photograph, because the boat Utopia is going to wobble about as the tide is coming in, which is absolutely fine. There's a small rowing boat on a mud flat just opposite it. We're going to use that to anchor the image. There's going to be no movement on that boat, and there's just a little area of mud just going to be off to the left-hand side of this. Obviously, there's nothing subjective-wise there, but it is something stationary, going to anchor everything together. Now, I'm going to use a mode on the camera that I used a couple of videos back, which is live composite, which is going to allow me to take a really long exposure photo when the conditions would otherwise not allow for it. So here we go, using a live composite. There's the first photograph taken now. That gives me the base photograph, and now I just press the shutter button once again, and the camera is just going to overlap all of the highlights on this, and that's going to give that really long exposure look. So I'm going to allow the camera to expose this photograph for a couple of minutes, and I'll show you the raw file and the finished photograph. So I hope tonight's video has shown you the dynamic range capabilities of a camera like this E-M1 Mark II. It has around 13 stops of dynamic range, which is in reality way more than anybody is likely to use. I think it's been proven somewhere on the internet that around 8 is completely adequate. So 13, it's an extra, what, 5 stops that you're never really going to need. But I just wanted to come out, have a bit of fun, show the editing process, the before and the after, and just show you how much information you can push and pull from the files on this Olympus E-M1 Mark II. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a thumbs up and a like. Helps bring new viewers to see my content, and if you did enjoy it, there is a subscribe button below me. You can always press that and you'll see more nonsense from me every single week. Until the next time, I'm going to love you and leave you and say goodbye.